your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name's Linda Allen. I live at 1407 North Fisk Boulevard, Cocoa. It's also known as Cocoa Hills. And I'm here speaking for a lot of my neighbors. We have a traffic situation on our street. I live close to Carson, which is almost at the end of the drive. We have speeders to the point they come around the corners, they see that traffic light, they see it's green, and it's off to the tracks. Just around me, just 4 houses around me, there are 15 children, non-age. The boys love to play basketball. Oh, heavens, do they? And they're always in the street, as they should be. Okay. Recently, the police department has put up a sign warning everybody what the appropriate speed is. It won't do any good. The ducks are being killed on the street because they're just speeding. Is it young people? Various ages? It doesn't make a difference. You've got stop signs there. Okay? The only cure I see is a speed bump. And that's what I'm asking the council to look into, to save the children before they're hit. God knows I don't walk that fast across the street anymore. Okay, so I certainly wouldn't be able to get out of a speeding car's way. So I'm asking the council to look into the fact if we can't get a speed bump, and I'm requesting it between Westview and Kensington, because that's the biggest straightaway. And like I said, they don't slow down. Being child, animal, they don't. So I'm asking the council's assistance in trying to do that. I know the police have been out there in force. They can verify that they've done this. Okay, so we don't know as a community what else to do.
Where's the current, can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Where's the current stop sign?
There is a stop sign at the corner of
Westview.
Carson as they come on to Fisk. There is a four-way stop sign at Westview,
Okay.
which is, I'm right in between the two.
Right.
Okay? And then as you come off of Kensington to get into Fisk Boulevard, there's also a stop sign. And it's, oh, I'm sorry, and they're off.
Has it changed any since school's been out, or is it just?
The ducks were killed just a few days ago.
Okay, okay,
And I can hear them coming down the road.
okay.
And inside your home with your windows closed and the air conditioning going, you shouldn't be able to hear the vehicles coming down the road.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next up is John Risden. You can state your name and address for us, please, sir.
Hi, my name's John Risden. I live at 1313 North Fisk Boulevard, and I'm here to voice my concerns about the speeders in the neighborhood as well. It seems that they're rampant. I've lived there, it'll be a year next month, and the whole time I've been there, it's just they're rampant, especially on North Fisk Boulevard. I walk my dogs in the whole neighborhood, that other street that's parallel Hillsdale to the east, and the connecting streets as well, Carson, Westview, and Kensington. And all those stop signs, the cars, you can see, they just drive through them because they can see that there's no, oncoming
yeah.
traffic. And it's not even a rolling California stop. They're just moving. And, the 2 ducks were killed Sunday. And just across the street from that, 2 weeks prior to that, my neighbor was pulling into his driveway. The woman in back of him was going so fast, she had to veer off, and she drove over the speed limit sign that's there on the sidewalk and just kept going. And right where that speed limit sign is, there's a house right there where 5 children live, and that's directly across the street from me. So I'm just here to voice those concerns, and hopefully we can find some solutions, perhaps a three-way stop sign at Kensington and North Fisk, and a speed bump as well between Kensington and Westview. Yeah. So, it's really alarming, because they don't stop. My neighbor has even, in fact, been out there, hey, slow down. People will stop and challenge him for doing that. And, so it's disconcerting, to say the least. So,
Your wife, that's Melanie or
yeah,
Miriam?
she's not my wife, she's my housemate, but yeah, Meredith, yeah.
Meredith, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they put the sign, they were going to put the electronic
They were
traffic
supposed to
sign
put
in
the
front?
speed limit sign back up there today, the monitor, so I just came from work, I don't know yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the city manager and assistant city manager hear you, our public works director and our chief, so we'll,
Well, I spoke with I had a
look
nice
into this.
conversation with the chief of police prior to coming into the meeting, and he gave me some, very nice assurances that were very encouraging.
yes, sir. Okay.
So thank you.
Well, thank you for coming out, yeah. Okay, I don't see any more cards for delegation. We can move on to our consent agenda.
Second.
We got a motion from Deputy Mayor Warner, and the second from Councilman Bover. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously.
I have complained against my manager.
Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. And we can move on to public hearing, item number 6.1. Community Service Director.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request to hold a second and final public hearing to approve an ordinance revoking the economic development ad valorem tax exemption granted to Cross Brands Manufacturing LLC, and to authorize the city clerk to send a certified copy of the ordinance to Brevard County Property Appraiser pursuant to the terms set forth in ordinance number 03-2019. In 2016, Cross Brands Manufacturing LLC requested an ad valorem tax exemption for the establishment of its business manufacturing and distributing health and beauty products in Cocoa, Florida. On May 24, 2016, the city granted Cross Brands an economic development ad valorem tax exemption for a period of 7 years, subject to the terms and conditions of Resolution 2014-18 and Ordinance 11-2016. Both instruments expressly authorize the City Council to revoke by ordinance an economic development ad valorem tax exemption if an applicant fails to comply with any term or condition of the exemption. Cross Brands has moved its business out of the city of Cocoa in or about August 2018. The move from the city of Cocoa was a breach of conditions specified by Ordinance 11-2016. Staff is requesting to hold a public hearing and revoke the economic development ad valorem tax exemption.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let me read the ordinance. And ordinance number 03-2019, ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cocoa, Brevard County, Florida, revoking the economic development ad valorem tax exemption given to Cross Brands Manufacturing LLC, originally authorized by ordinance 11-2016, providing for the repeal of prior and consistent ordinances and resolutions, severability, and an effective date. This is second and final reading. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. And because this is a public hearing, I'm going to open it at this time to the public for any public comments. And seeing none, I'm going to close it to the public at this time and reopen it to the council.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to ask Nancy, when companies, you were offering a business an incentive and they moved, do we do any follow-up to find out, like, why did you move?
Yes, actually, 2 of the 4 of them, we found out they relocated because they needed to expand, and they weren't able to expand on their current site. So this company actually moved to Rockledge. They needed a larger facility.
Okay. Motion to approve.
We got a motion from Councilwoman Cost, a second from Councilman Bowen. All in favor signify by, Porver, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. Okay, item number 2, Mr. City Attorney, if you want to go ahead and.
This is also second and final reading, same type of issue. Ordinance number 05-2019, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cocoa, Brevard County, Florida, revoking the economic development ad valorem tax exemption given to Diamondback CNC LLC, originally authorized by Ordinance 08-2012, providing for the repeal of prior and consistent ordinances and resolutions, severability, and an effective date. This is second and final reading of this ordinance. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. There's no,
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to mention that Diamondback received the tax exemptions for the years of 2013, 2014, and 2015 for a total of $13,796.51. However, they have maintained their principal place of business in the city of Cocoa, but they were not able to meet the job requirements as part of the agreement. The majority of their positions are part-time or seasonal. So we are requesting that the amounts not be imposed on the exemption.
thank you, ma'am. This time, I'm going to close it to the council and open it up to the public for public comments. Seeing none, I'm going to close it to the public at this time and reopen it to the council. What is the wishes of the council? We got a motion from Councilman Bover.
Second.
Second from Councilman Goin. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously.
Okay.
Item number 363.
It's another second and final reading of ordinance number 06-2019, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cocoa, Brevard County, Florida, revoking the economic development ad valorem tax exemption given to Gino LLC, originally authorized by ordinance 12-2015, reimposing the ad valorem tax as exempted for 2016 pursuant to ordinance 12-2015 to the extent allowed by law, providing for the repeal of prior inconsistent ordinances and resolutions, severability, and an effective date. It's also a public hearing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to mention that Gino received an ad valorem tax exemption in the amount of $2,031.78 for the 2016 year. In April 2018, they relocated to Georgia Tech's Technology Enterprise Park.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, I'm going to close it to the council and open it up to the public for any public comments. Seeing none, I'm going to close it to the public at this time, reopen it to the council. What is the wishes of the council?
Second.
We got a motion from Deputy Mayor Warner, a second from Councilwoman Cost. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously. Item number 4, Mr. City Attorney.
Second and final reading of ordinance number 07-2019, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cocoa, Brevard County, Florida, revoking the economic development ad valorem tax exemption given to Paragon Plastics, Inc., originally authorized by ordinance 17-2011, reimposing the ad valorem taxes exempted for 2016 pursuant to ordinance 17-2011 to the extent allowed by law, providing for the repeal of prior inconsistent ordinances and resolutions, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Paragon Plastics received ad valorem tax exemptions in 2013, 2014, and 2015 for a total of $3,757.22. They also needed to expand their business and ended up relocating in Titusville, 1401 Armstrong Drive.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, I'm going to close it to the council and open it up to the public for any public comments. Seeing none, at this time, I'm going to close it to the public and reopen it to the council. What is the wishes of the council? We got a motion from Councilman Bover. Second from Deputy Mayor Warner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. Item number 5. This is a preliminary and final subdivision consistent with Chapter 18 subdivision, Appendix A zoning of the city code for Adamson Creek Phase 1B.
This is the subject location for Adamson Creek Phase 1B off of Adamson Road. This is the plat for the subdivision. Adamson Creek is a... Adamson Creek is a plan unit development approved in 2015 for a total of 431 single-family homes on 178 acres. I'm still not being heard. I'll keep rolling. 44 acres of open space amenities. Phase 1 was approved and recorded in 2006. Phase 1 was later broken down into 3 phases, 1A, 1B, and 1C. Phase 1 was recorded in 2007 with 154 single-family homes and is completed at this time. On October 13, 2015, the city approved a preliminary subdivision for phases 1B and C. The 2015 approval expired, which D.R. Horton purchased the property in January 2018. It actually changed hands three times. They commenced construction of the infrastructure based on that prior approval. And so when this situation came to light, when the contractor approached the city for inspections of the site work. Hence, we're looking at doing the preliminary and the final together. The plans submitted for approval at this time do not contain the customary engineering pages found in a typical preliminary subdivision application. This is part because the original PUD is still in effect, and that approval included all the relevant engineering detail customary to such a project. City staff have inspected the site work completed and have given approvals. In addition, because the site work is completed, the applicant is requesting approval of the final subdivision along with this preliminary subdivision application. Therefore, the plans submitted are the final plat pages. So your basic project details for Phase 1B, it's 21.2 acres, 6.29 are wet, 94 single-family homes on 2 streets. There's a stormwater pond, which will have stocked fishing dock viewing platform. Track K also contains a multi-use playing field area along Saxton Road. There's sidewalk connection, which will link Orsinio Lane and the existing walkway around the wetland in Track P, as well as a stormwater pond in Track E. 3.47 acres of open space credit towards the minimum 25% requirement for the PUD. Unlike Phase 1, the roads created in Phase 1B will be private roads maintained by the Adamson Creek Homeowners Association with an easement recorded on the plat towards the city of Cocoa. The plans have been reviewed by the city staff for consistency with Chapter 18 subdivisions and with Appendix A zoning of the City of Cocoa Code and found to be in substantial compliance. The majority of the lots created by the subdivision are 50 in width by 120 feet in depth, which equates to 6,000 square feet of lot area. Lots on roadway curbs are allowed at a minimum width of 25 feet, and corner lots are required to be 15% larger than the interior lots. This subdivision plat meets these requirements. There is no minimum lot size under PUD zoning, and minimum setbacks and distance separation between the structures will be addressed when a building permit is applied for. So we're waiting on just a few more comments. The city's floodplain reviewer, he provided his draft comments today, and then also the school capacity letter from Brevard County School Board. So these will be conditions upon recommendation for approval of the final plat. The previous action, the preliminary subdivision, was heard at the June 5th, 2019 Planning and Zoning Board. P&Z Board recommended approval with conditions. There is one property owner that spoke before Planning and Zoning Board. He is actually kind of landlocked in between Phase 1B and 1C, and he expressed some drainage concerns. So in talking with D.R. Horton earlier today, we're requesting to add another condition that they provide a solution that can demonstrate that the drainage would not impact his property. So along with that condition, staff is requesting approval of the preliminary and final subdivision for Adamson Creek Phase 1B. They need to provide a copy of the school capacity determination letter as recorded before recording of the final subdivision plat. All comments generated by the city's floodplain reviewer must be addressed prior to recording the plat. The existing construction lien must be cleared and clean. Title report provided to the city prior to recording the final subdivision plat. And they also need to provide a printed name line for each witness signature under the dedication of the plat.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And once again, kudos to our planning and zoning board, because I tell you, sometimes they get carried away and they ask questions that they go beyond the project sometimes. And but they seem to regroup, but they do ask some important questions. And I could tell you that if there was any questions that need to be asked about this project, it was mentioned in the planning and zoning board. So they do an awesome job. With that being said, at this time, I'm going to open it up to the public for any public comments. And then if there's no public comments, then I'll reopen it to the council and let the developer come up if the council has any questions of him. So at this time, I'm going to close it to the council and open it up to the public for any public comments, if you have any reference to this project. Seeing none, I'm going to close it to the public, reopen it to the council, and
Motion to approve.
we got a motion from Councilman Bover, second from Deputy Mayor Warner. Any comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously.
A great job by staff, by the way.
Thank you.
And the mayor's right, the Planning and Zoning Board, they dig into the
Yes, they
good
do.
stuff.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 6. Ms. Blunt.
Why, thank you. The city manager, John DeCanich, said he would be
Okay.
happy to present this one.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, the item before you is a request to approve a settlement implementation agreement between Virgin Trains US Florida LLC and the City of Cocoa to approve conceptual plans and an amenity schedule and the construction timeline for a residential subdivision consistent with the RU17 zoning, and to authorize city manager to execute an excavation permit on the following property, commonly known as the former Space Needle property, to implement the stipulated settlement agreement made and entered into December 11, 2007, recorded in Brevard County official records, and that agreement was between the City of Cocoa and Brevard County. Just by way of background, the property is located at the northeast corner of State Road 528 and I-95. It's 246 acres. It was annexed many years ago, and it was subject to litigation both on the annexation, future land use, and the zoning. The city prevailed in the future land use, as well as prevailed in the annexation lawsuit, and we entered into a stipulated settlement agreement to avoid unnecessary legal expenses if the county wanted to proceed with appealing it to the Supreme Court. And the stipulated settlement agreement provides some conditions related to the development of the property, most notably as it relates to access and then also the gross permitted density. The stipulated settlement agreement does provide that the gross permitted density would be about 2.03 acres per unit. The developer is proposing to acquire the property and construct a low-density residential subdivision of approximately 320 units on the property, which are consistent with the terms of both the preceding development agreement and the stipulated settlement agreement, more specifically. The acquisition of the property by the developer is a condition preceding to the commitment of this development agreement in terms that are set forth herein, and that the developer will keep the city apprised in terms of the closing, and will faithfully and expeditiously complete the closing within 90 days of the effective date. In terms of the project description, the developer is going to design, permit, and construct, I would argue, one of the premier upscale low-density residential subdivisions in the city. It would be created and constructed in a single phase and consist of approximately 320 residential units with a minimum living area of 1,500 square feet and an average living area of 1,800 square feet. Private streets, ample, recreational common open green space, amenities, including a private amenity center, and proposed 38-acre amenity lake. In terms of the zoning, within 30 days of the closing date, the developer agrees to submit a complete rezoning application with the city to request the approval of the RU17 zoning designation, and the city and the developer will work collaboratively to process that application and complete it within 180 days of the date of the completed application submitted to the city. I mentioned there's 3 issues, but one of the issues raised in the stipulated settlement agreement was the ingress and egress for the project. First, the project is supposed to have 2 public road access points. The northern access point would be at the southern terminus of Bahia Street on the northern, essentially at the middle and the northern portion of the property. However, when it comes to the southern access point, the Brevard County, as part of the stipulated settlement agreement, is required to choose between 2 options for the public road access for the south. Either one on Osage and Angelica Street, or south along the 100-foot wide drainage canal right-of-way that connects to Grissom Road. To account for this variation, since the county, the developer has reached out to the county, and that decision could not be made in a more timely fashion, I think there's some discussions that will have to be had with the county, and then they'll make that decision. But they will, this development agreement does account for if one selection, such as the Canal Road right-of-way selection, is made, and it costs more than anticipated. It allows for some flexibility and modifications, in terms of between the conceptual plan. I mentioned there's 2 conceptual plans in terms for both the subdivision and site plan approval. The concept plan does serve as a guide for the future permit applications and permitting necessary to leading all the way up to complete the construction. The developer does have the obligation to submit and further obtain the city's final approval of the subdivision, final site plan, and final engineering plans consistent with the concept plan, and in all material respects, coming into compliance with the city code and the amenity schedule set forth in section 10, I believe it is. The concept plan does, again, I mentioned, provides for reasonable adjustments at the final phase in order to bring the project into compliance with the code. I would add in section 9, public utilities, the city is going to design, permit, construct, and make the utilities available to the property no later than the date that the developer, there's several thresholds of which they're going to establish, and related to that, the developer, once the utilities are in place, the developer shall complete the construction of the project by obtaining all required certificate of occupancies within 5 years from the utility completion date. And then within 90 days from the date that the city completes the utilities, the extension to the property, the city will deliver notice to the developer, and within that the extension is complete, and then within 60 days of that, the developer at its expense shall secure the reimbursement of the total city utility expense. It does provide the agreement that the city shall have the right at any time to adopt and impose a home rule special assessment on the property and the lots created thereon to recover the total city utility expenses, of which the assessment, if it was imposed, would be collected and enforced in accordance with the uniform method of collection and enforcement of non-ad valorem special assessments under Florida law. The developer will be conveying a perpetual public utilities easement upon, over, and under the property that allows the city to connect the future public utilities to not just this property, whether it be through the canal or Osage and Angelica, but also to the property south, which many of you may recall was known as the Barrera Shores property. It's south of 528. That easement will be a minimum of 40 feet and a maximum of 60 feet, and generally located in an area where the developer intends to construct the conveyance system under and over State Road 528 to support excavation of the lake amenity in Section 10 of the agreement. That amenity, as it relates to on-site, before we go there, that relates to on-site utility infrastructure. The developer is responsible for the design, permitting, construction, including the water, sewer, reclaim, sewer lift station, pumps, electrical lines, equipment, cable, everything that typically goes with it. That's the developer's responsibility. Now, related to the amenity, the lake amenity, that 38-acre lake amenity as depicted in the conceptual plan, the excavation permit would be subject to our Chapter 12.5 of the City Code and will be in the form of an excavation permit agreement, which will be executed by both parties. In Section 11, it does provide for an overview for the project recreational amenities and enhancements. I'll highlight some. The Central Amenity Center, which will be a community clubhouse with various features, a pool, open space, pavilions, playgrounds, tot lots, multi-use field, multi-purpose courts, smaller common open space lots and areas throughout the community, which include smaller playgrounds and benches, a connected multi-purpose trail through the community that connects to all recreational common open spaces and including the existing lakes and the new lake amenity proposed, a streetscape design, as well as decorative and landscape entry features, as well. The project would incorporate the use of energy-efficient lighting systems, installation, Energy Star-rated windows, low-flow water fixtures, modern heat pumps, energy-efficient HVAC systems, and optional rooftop solar panels. Probably one of the main things I think left to discuss is the stipulated settlement agreement provides, again, I mentioned that the gross density per acre in the stipulated settlement was 2.03. This project, I think by my calculation, was about it turned off, I apologize. It was certainly less than the 2.3, actually.
Yeah.
I don't need last month's council meeting or last week. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the overall density proposed at 320 units, it's in the agenda item, and I think it's important to note in light of the fact that there was public concern regarding the overdevelopment of the property. It's 2.03 that's provided in the stipulated settlement agreement, and I apologize, yes, it's 1.3 dwelling units per acre, so it's lower, so they certainly have more capacity. And one of the other stipulations in the stipulated settlement agreement, provisions rather, was along the northern and the eastern boundaries of this property, there's a requirement that the lots be at least 70 by 140, with the rear yard having at least a 15-foot natural buffer, and what they are proposing is 75 by 140, so they are larger than what it was contemplated in the stipulated settlement agreement. And then the interior lots, previously it was going to be more of a clustered PUD, with it being an RU17, you're looking at 75 by 100 lots. So with that, I would share with you that it is consistent in terms of with the city's comprehensive plan. The future land use is very low density residential, which provides up to 4 dwelling units per acre. This is the 1.3, and the stipulated settlement agreement provides for 2.03. And the concurrency, the staff will conduct a concurrency review of services required prior to the project, for the project at such time the applicant applies for the preliminary subdivision. Final review will be completed with the final subdivision site plan. And with that, staff will return to council for questions, and the recommended motion is to approve a settlement implementation agreement between Virgin Trains USA Florida LLC and the City of Cocoa to approve conceptual plans and amenity schedule and a construction timeline for a residential subdivision consistent with the RU17 zoning, and to authorize the city manager to execute an excavation permit on the following properties, commonly known as the former Space Needle, to implement the stipulated settlement agreement made and enter into December 11, 2007, and recorded in the Brevard County Official Records, Book 5837, page 226, parcel number 24-35-10-00-3. And I will add that representatives from, Virgin Trains US Florida are here for any questions, as well as if you have any questions for staff. And I would like to thank the city attorney and everybody that worked on this to get this done.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to go ahead and open up to the public at this time for any public comments. So it's closed to the council, open to the public now for any public comments. If anybody have anything they'd like to discuss with reference to this item. If not, I'm going to close it to the public, open up to the council for discussions and for motions.
So I just wanted to ask, do we have reclaimed out there now?
Actually, we do have reclaim line that runs up Grissom Parkway, and there is an ability, actually the developer asked about that, and there is the ability to connect them to reclaim. And Mr. Mayor, I do want to add that we did, and you have in your attachments, the legal ad that was posted.
Yes.
And Nancy, you can verify the butter notices were also sent out. Is that correct?
No, we didn't set out.
We just did a legal ad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
Oh, I just wanted to say one more thing.
You wanna-
Oh, you didn't have to write on it.
Sorry about that, there's my light.
But we have a motion from, we got a motion by Councilman Bover,
I'll second.
and we got a second with
Discussion.
Councilwoman Cos for discussion.
All I wanted to say was I was really glad to see that solar will be encouraged, and particularly in this highly visible, those roofs are probably going to be highly visible, and I hope they'll start a whole movement in that direction. So we are seconded.
Yes, ma'am. We got a motion from Councilman Bover, a second from Councilwoman Cos. Any more comments, or? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 7.1, council business. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, at a prior meeting, the request was made that the resolution 2002-08, which was a resolution establishing a code of conduct for city council members and prescribing penalties for violating said code, set forth civility, that the city attorney prepare the addendum for each member of council to sign. That has been signed, and it is present for your to follow up, and so you all know that that has been completed.
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
And that was just basically just, because we've all signed it, so it's just,
Yeah, and the city clerk is in the process of reviewing, as we mentioned at the retreat, of updating the rules and procedures, and so.
I did want to comment.
okay, go ahead.
Can I make a comment on
Yes,
this?
ma'am. Go ahead.
On this
Mhm.
line item? I think this is where it would be most appropriate. Alex and I just got back from the IEMO training, and that was very helpful. One of the things they talked about was the agenda and how we bring up new items, how we bring up items for future consideration, things that we want to vet. Because as Alex has brought up before, each of us has no power individually. It's only when we can influence two other members of this council can we pass something. And it's really helpful to have us develop those ideas together. So typically, we have had our time to speak at the very end of the meeting, the informational items. And many times, this is the last meeting, it was such a long meeting, it hardly gives you the opportunity to bring up any new items. I mean, an example of this was Deputy Mayor Warner had brought up about the marijuana citations several weeks ago. I thought that was a good idea, and I guess we're going to be doing a workshop on it. But it's those kind of ideas and agenda things that you want to promote as a council person, that we don't really have the opportunity to do that at a point in the meeting where there are more people here and where we have enough energy left to really debate it. So I was hoping to get a consensus from the council that we start to include an items for future consideration agenda item more toward the front of the meeting, probably after we have delegations and maybe before we have the consent agenda. But if we wanted to, we could limit that to 5 minutes each, and you could either take that time or not. But at least it would give us the opportunity to put things out there so that we can, well, so that we offer it to the public so that they could come back and help us develop it as well before it actually comes up as resolution or the next stage in the game.
I talked to a couple other city managers about this, and I know they've switched to doing their reports right after delegations, because sometimes there's a lot of important stuff in there, and people have the tendency to leave after a little while. So, yeah, it's something that we can look into. But
I'd like to
Yeah. Does that mean that if we do that 5 minutes, that mean at the end, our report is done? We're doing our report at the beginning.
yeah,
That we're not doing two.
Well, I mean, there wouldn't be a need to. I think
Right.
if you really
I
have
got you.
something you want to vet, you'd probably come prepared in
Right.
that front part of the meeting where everybody's here and still has, is still able to listen. And then if you had maybe some follow-up, but
Well, the simplest thing may be to do, just move our reports up. I mean, there was a time when, I don't know, the mayor may remember, we used to do delegations at the end of the meeting. And we moved it up because so many members of the public would have to sit here sometimes, I mean,
And listen to us.
and sometimes the meetings didn't last until after, or didn't get over until after midnight. And delegations was at the end of the meeting. So we moved that up so the public could have more participation in the delegations. So maybe if we move our reports up, because like you're right, usually by the time we're doing reports, because we're doing it after staff,
Yeah,
the only people left are the really diehards that aren't going anywhere. So,
and they
You
don't know what we're doing unless they
no.
want
So
to.
maybe we just take our reports and move it up to like after delegations, or maybe we put it in front of delegations to give the public an opportunity under delegations to talk about what we've said, you know, so if maybe the public would like, that's the perfect opportunity for the public to comment on while it's fresh in everybody's mind, you know, like if I'd have brought the marijuana thing up at the beginning of the meeting, I guarantee you under delegations, somebody would have had something to say, so, you know.
Yeah, that's something. I'm for it. Yeah, it's just something we.
Well, maybe
we
it can be discussed in
Yeah.
a staff meeting, and you guys
Yeah.
can look, because I know a lot of times, the consent agenda, there's people sitting here waiting to see if we approve it, because they've got an item on consent, and
Yeah.
they're waiting for that, and it's easy and quick, and lasts 30 seconds and it's done, so maybe we can readjust our agenda to accommodate some of those things.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys would like to take a look and let us know, I mean, I'd be all for that, I don't,
I'm for it.
Okay. And someone like to make a motion for this,
Councilwoman Cox?
Have to, it's already
Consensus, I guess?
no, I mean on the item where,
resolution?
yeah, the
The
resolution.
They don't need, there's
Yeah, we already signed it.
Oh, I thought they needed
I
a,
thought we needed approval.
yeah, I thought they needed a motion from what I read.
Yeah, it says accept.
Accept, I'll make a motion, we accept the,
Yeah.
Second.
We got a motion from Deputy Mayor Warner, second from Councilwoman Cost. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
it's nice to see my
Passes.
signature hasn't changed in 20 years.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 8.1, which is city business, administrative services. You're waiting on me to read it, was you?
I'll read it in by title, and then you can, if you want to
Okay.
explain it. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cocoa, Brevard County, Florida, amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 7 Police Officers Retirement Plan of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cocoa by amending Section 2-193 Board of Trustees, providing for codification, providing for severability of provisions, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. The Board of Trustees is recommending this ordinance to the City Council. It just basically would extend the term of office for the trustees from 2 years to 4 years, which is permitted by Florida statutes.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay.
And I just want to add that the fire pension board is, when I was approached by the police board to make this change, I reached out to the fire board to ask them if they were interested in the same change, and it's covered under their statute that governs their pension as well. And their pension attorney just sent me their ordinance back this week, so that one's coming to the next meeting. So I tried to get them on the same meeting, but it just didn't work out, so.
Thank you, ma'am. What is the wishes of the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We get a motion from Deputy Mayor Warner, a second from Councilwoman Cost. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Utilities Director, item number 8.2.
Thank you, sir. This is item number 8.2 to award bid number B-19-5-COC Sellers Water Reclamation Facility Sludge Valve Replacements, part of the Sludge Handling Improvement Project number WS19SS, to WPC Industrial Contractors LLC, Jacksonville, Florida, in the amount of $84,700, to approve a resolution authorizing the city manager to approve change orders in the amount not to exceed $8,470, which is 10% of the contract amount, for a total project cost of $93,170, and to authorize the city manager to execute the contract. So this item was bid out. They were the low bidder. There are a number of isolation valves currently that we actually have to work around right now, and we also have some open pits because we had to dig up the valves to actually access the valve body because the stems have failed. So it's a fairly important project. We've been kind of working around it until we could get it bid and get it out on the street. We're anxious to move forward, and I'm here to answer any more questions you may have.
Thank you, sir.
I just had, I was just going to comment, and I mean, I talked with John about this, but it was interesting. So we actually send out an RFP to 356 people, and we got back 3 responses from 15 plan holders. So, and that's typical?
That's typical. The Demand Star broadcasts it to anybody who signs up, and that's why you get 300 or 400, sometimes even more. The 15 plan holders, that means people in the area who are really interested. They're going to take a look at the plans and start probably doing their homework, and at that point, they decide whether they think the bid is worth going after, probably not knowing it, because sometimes the description in Demand Star is not enough. They got to see the plans, and then decide whether or not they want to bid on it, and hence the 3 bidders.
Okay. Second.
We got a motion from Councilman Bover, a second from Councilwoman Cost. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 3, full-time employee for customer service, finance director.
Thank you, Mayor. This agenda item is a request to increase the full-time headcount within the budget in the utility customer service division for the finance department. Of note, since 1999, the number of utility customers has increased by 24,000, and we've added virtually 1 employee to handle that increase in volume of the employees. As you observe when you come into City Hall, there's often long lines, and at this point in time, we only have 3 people that can handle the customer service window out front. And so we're requesting another employee to be added so that person can potentially just take the cash-only customers to try and handle them more quickly. And then in addition, they're going to provide relief to the other customer service representatives on the windows that are handling when they go out on break. You know, they have to take breaks a couple times a day. They take lunch, they go on vacation. And right now, when that happens, then we're short 1 more additional person. So staff is requesting approval of adding 1 more employee to that customer service division.
Thank you, ma'am.
Motion to approve.
Yes.
Yes, and second. Glad to hear it.
Thank you.
We got a motion from Councilman Goins, a second from Councilwoman Cost. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously. Yeah. Item number 4, Community Services Director.
Thank you, Mayor. Staff is requesting that council approval to accept the loan funds with conditions awarded from the Community Development Block Grant Section 108 Loan Guarantee Program. Approve a budget resolution amending the fiscal year 2019 adopted budget in the amount of $894,000 plus the 2.23% loan fee in the amount of $19,937, and then authorize the mayor to sign any certifications, documents, or agreements related to the Section 108 loan guarantee. On May 21st, 2019, the city received notification that the Section 108 loan was approved with conditions. I just want to quickly outline some of the conditions. The first condition is to provide that in the event the city fails to submit notes or other obligations for inspection and guarantee by HUD before June 30th, 2020, the commitment will expire as of such date. The second condition provides that the repayment schedule for the indebtedness evidenced by the notes or obligations must be acceptable to HUD. The third condition provides that the city shall provide additional security for the guaranteed loan, and such additional security must be acceptable to HUD. The fourth condition is that the city shall submit information required under Section 102B of the Department of Housing and Urban Development Reform Act of 1989. The fifth condition provides that the city is required to pay a fee of 2.23% of the principal amount of the loan guarantee under this commitment to cover the credit subsidy costs. In addition, there's other special conditions cited, environmental conditions, and also a timetable that describes the execution of the activities described in the application. Attached is the funding approvals, which need to be signed by the mayor and submitted to HUD. Staff is requesting council approval to accept the loan funds with the conditions awarded from the Community Development Block Grant Section 108 Loan Guarantee Program. Approve a budget resolution amending the fiscal year 2019 in the amount of $894,000 plus the 2.3% loan fee, and to recognize the debt proceeds, and authorize the mayor to sign all other certifications, documentations, and agreements related to the Section 108 loan.
Okay, what is the wishes of the council?
Motion to approve.
We got a motion from Deputy Mayor Warner. Second from Councilman Bover. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Anyway, item number 5,
Staff is requesting that council approve a resolution amending the FY 2019 budget with the use of general fund balance reserves for the Dr. Jolie Smith Community Center construction project in fiscal year 2019 in the amount of $1,324,369. Additionally, these funds are expected to be reimbursed to the general fund during the course of the project or following the completion of the project. But if reimbursement does not happen, the city will ultimately be responsible for the cost not reimbursed. So the construction of the Dr. Jolie Smith Center will be funded through multiple sources. Diamond Square Community Redevelopment Agency, $47,488, which is currently budgeted in the city's budget. Section 108 Loan Guarantee Funds, $894,000. Community Development Block Grant Funds for fiscal year 2019, $190,000. Community Development Block Grant Funds for fiscal year 2020, $65,369. Community Development Block Grant Funds from Brevard County FY 2020, $175,000. City of Cocoa Capital Project Fund 301, $3,178,156, which is currently budgeted. So, hold on. I had to flip the page, sorry. By committing the funds for the project up front, the city is guaranteeing the successful completion of the construction of the Dr. Jolie Smith Community Center, should any of these other entities default on their portion of the reimbursement. Staff respectfully request City Council's approval for the following: Section 108 Loan Guarantee Funds, $894,000. The CDBG FY19 funds, $190,000. CDBG FY20, $65,369, and then the CDBG Brevard County FY20, $175,000. The total is $1,324,369 from general fund balance reserves for the construction of the center, with the understanding that if any portion of the commitments from the CDBG funds or the Section 108 loan funds default, the city is responsible for the funds to complete the project. The use of the general fund balance on Budget Amendment Form 2019-101 is necessary because the CDBG funds does not have any cash yet, as the funds are reimbursement basis. In addition, a portion of the funding is pledged CDBG future revenues. When these funds are received by CDBG, the advance will be repaid to the general fund.
thank you, ma'am. Councilman Goins.
Is the $175,000 that is allocated from Brevard County, is that for the additional square footage for,
Correct.
yeah, okay. And that's approved through them already?
It's in the budget process. They have sent us an email yesterday asking that they actually pay for the pool resurfacing, because they would prefer to pay for the surfacing versus the actual building, because their employees would be going into the building. But it will still be part of the project.
Okay. Councilwoman Carr.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what is the likelihood of the defaulting? Because all of the sources that you named didn't strike me as being likely to default.
I don't think that they will default, but we
Yeah.
wanted to be clear that if
Okay.
any of
Be
them...
remiss not to,
Right.
let's say there's budget sequestration and goes in, so.
Right, okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. What's the wishes of the council?
Motion to approve?
You got a motion from Councilman Goins,
Second.
second from Councilwoman Cost. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. Gonna move on to item number 6, multi-year contracts, Public Works Director.
Yes, Mayor and Council, staff is asking council to accept a contractual guaranteed maximum price from W&J Construction in the amount of $4,550,013 for a multi-year, multi-phase design build spanning from fiscal year 2019 to fiscal year 2020 for the Jolie Smith Community Center, RFQ 1907 COC. Also requesting you to authorize the city manager to finalize and execute the design-build contract with W&J construction team and to issue a change order adding $4,379,869 to the original purchase order, requesting approval of a resolution amending the FY 2019 budget, and requesting approval of a resolution modifying previous resolution 2019-004 regarding the guaranteed maximum price and project contingency amount for Jolie Smith. The original GMP was, soft GMP was for phase one of the project in the amount of $3,295,839 for phase one construction. The final contractual GMP of $4,550,013 includes additional elements, including all the parking, additional site work, stormwater resurfacing the outdoor basketball court, both swimming pools, and in addition to increasing the building square footage for the Brevard Action Team. Some of the on-site amenities are also being repurposed at a cost, of course, including the field lighting, the prefabricated restroom, and a pavilion. The construction time, once the contract is approved, is 335 days to substantial completion with another 30 days for final. So this time next year, we should have a new Jolie Smith Center if it's approved.
Thank you, sir.
I'll turn it over to council.
Thank you, sir. What is the wishes of the council?
Motion to approve.
We got a motion from Councilman Goins, a second from Councilman Bover. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And good to work.
Okay, any advisory board committee members here need to speak? The reports a note. Move on to staff. Mr. Weagraff, sir.
Just a quick report on the paving. The milling was started today in case nobody noticed. Of course, the rains kind of tend to mess things up.
Oh, yeah.
Paving will follow as soon as possible after the road dries out. Hopefully, we get it started tomorrow, and then there will be one final phase of the really fun stuff of Brevard, Delanoy, and Harrison. So that will be coming up, and we'll let council know when that's coming up. So progress is moving forward. We'll get it done. So any
Thank you, sir.
questions, be happy to answer.
Thank you, sir. No questions? No. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Finance Director.
First off, I'd like to express my condolences with the passing of your father.
Thank you, ma'am.
And then secondly, just to let council know that staff is hard at work, working on the fiscal year budget with the city manager and the department, so look forward to some further meetings coming up soon.
Okay, thank you. Chief?
Mr. Mayor, same thing. I'd like to pass on condolences on your dad's passing also. And then also I'd like to let Mayor and Council know, excuse me, that I've provided each of you with a copy of our 2018 annual report and also some of our stickers from the patches that are on our autism awareness car. If you'd like more patches or more stickers, please let me know. And if any questions about the report, please let me know. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. Chief?
Mr. Mayor, I too would like to pass on our condolences on the passing of your father, sir.
Thank you.
And I have nothing to report.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Bond?
No report, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
No report, sir.
Thank you, sir.
No report.
Thank you, ma'am.
No report.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney?
No report, sir.
Ah, thank you, sir. Assistant City Manager.
I have two items. The first one is more of an informational report related to this past Saturday's concert event. For your reading, if you have any questions related to it, you can reach out to me. The second item is related to the upcoming City of Cocoa Hurricane Preparedness Expo. This is being offered for the community. It's June 27th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Cocoa City Hall. And essentially what it is an awareness workshop for the community. We'll have a number of departments at the city participating, as well as some other vendors, to include the Brevard County EOC 211 Brevard. There will be some giveaways at each of the represented departments to start Citizen Home Preparedness Kit. So within that, there's a number of items that gets you started on your way to establishing a kit for this upcoming season. You can also, at each of those stations, ask questions for the respective departments on what they're doing and what actions they're taking to prepare the city overall for the upcoming season. Thank you.
I was, maybe you can answer this as a city manager. There was some required training of council in the past for EOC training. I mean, with
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Actually, we have been in contact with, I spoke with Kim Prosser, the Brevard County Emergency Manager, about there is I think it's a G402, which is Incident Command System training for senior elected officials. And so myself, actually, and Deputy Chief Lamb was going to follow up, because we asked if they can't do that, can they do something short of that? But on July 10th, from 8 to noon, city staff will be, we had to work with schedule our facilitators and then all the people that are in the EOC, be having a EOC drill, exercise with an outside facilitator. And we'll get more information to you, and we'll invite you to come, after, and we can, if, so in the event that we can't get something coordinated with the county, we will do a presentation to go over the whole National Incident Management System framework, the Incident Command System structure, kind of roles, responsibilities, what we can do, what we do, what each of you as members of council can do in terms of helping and assisting as we go through the recovery component. And you're more than welcome, actually, to I encourage you to attend if you would like. Just ask that, I'd let the facilitator run the show, and we then, if you have questions after, during the debrief, the fire chief, deputy fire chief, Matt, myself, we can kind of answer those questions as well. So if you want to see that exercise going on. And
well, I'm just basically, I know in the past we just went online to.
Yeah, well, that class is not an online class.
Okay.
There are some, and we actually had discussion at our leadership team meeting yesterday, in terms of what the minimum requirements are, in terms of, we know essentially what the recommended are for staff, but it's our understanding at this point, it's only that G402 class. But I think it would be helpful, to be honest, if you, to have a better understanding, took some of those other basic classes that are available online. And I think every staffer will tell you they're very exciting, and it just, you can't look forward to anything more than that class.
Okay. But anyway,
Did I say that with sincerity?
was that your report, or?
No, that was your answering your question. I know the city attorney is trying to get out of here, but I've got like 26 items to cover. No, Mr. Mayor, on behalf of all of staff, our sincere condolences, the loss of your father, and please know if you need anything, all staff is here to assist you as appropriate. So Friday, just, I know a number, I'm not sure if you'll be attending, but there's the Florida League of Cities Legislative Policy Conference in Orlando. Not the conference, but the committee meetings in Orlando. It's Friday evening. I may be going over Thursday evening on my own to meet with some other the Florida City County managers that participate in those committee meetings. So I'm not certain of that yet, trying to get confirmation, but just want to advise council that I'll be traveling that day, obviously, to the committee meeting. So I don't think I have anything else to report.
Is that it? Really?
Yes.
Oh, it's amazing.
I can come up with some stuff, sir. if you want.
Deputy Mayor?
I don't have a report. I would like to ask the police chief, I know your staff is going to be starting their summer camp with kids for the next couple of weeks. Could you ask Officer Hadaway if he could maybe share with council a schedule in case we might have time to stop by and visit with the kids while they're at Jolie Smith or at the Y or something?
Yes, I will send out, I have most of it. I'll send out some calendar invites that'll include the different days.
Okay, thank you.
Especially some of the more specific.
I know some of it is traveling
Yes.
into places that we couldn't go, but like I know they spend several days over at the YMCA swimming, and I
Yes.
know they do some at the PAL Center. I know they do some stuff here locally, so maybe if some council has an opportunity, we could drop in and visit with them at some of those events.
I will get those out, and I'll get a copy to Carrie also.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Councilman Bover?
Yeah, I just have one thing. We had a successful coffee with a cop at Flying J last Thursday. We had quite a few people that showed up. Councilman Goins was there, Deputy Mayor was there, myself, and then the police department. And we had quite a few people that showed up this time. Good turnout, so we're very successful, considering we forgot to put flyers out.
I think we got a new VCOP out of it, too.
Yeah, we got a new VCOP, 3 of them, actually.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, sir.
that's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilwoman Cost?
Okay, well, since Kent is one of the people hanging in here, his good news, our good news, is that the car wash is opening up again on Clear Lake, right? Yeah, 4-person partnership, so, 5,
yeah.
okay. Other good news, on August 10th, there will be a fundraising performance at Cocoa Village Playhouse for the Cocoa Tigers Chorus. Those tickets will be $25 each, and they will be going on sale soon. Keep posted. They will also be the opening act at the July 4th event.
August.
Yes, August 10th. It's a matinee performance. And I also wanted to say that, well, first of all, sorry about your dad.
Thank you.
We talked about him a lot in early voting. And so I know how hard that is since I lost mine not too long ago. This has been such a positive meeting. Let me first say that it was quite an honor to be at the service for Barbara Jenkins, to be a part of that. She was such a legend in Cocoa, and I thought Reverend Watson, he gave such an inspiring commemoration. You really felt him channel her and give us all strength. And that's something I've needed a lot of lately, that kind of courage and strength, because this is not an easy job, I'm finding. Public service is not easy. But I'm committed. I'm committed to making Cocoa a better place to be in whatever big or small ways I can. And in the spirit of Barbara Jenkins and every other leader who has to endure to improve our community and uphold our democracy, I'm going to be strong. And I'm going to stay focused on the positive and help make Cocoa the best it can be. Probably one of the most positive things that we have done is appoint and institute the Police Advisory Committee. So for the record, because my appointee has been under attack, I would like to affirm my support, despite the efforts to defame, embarrass, and intimidate me and him. Alden Bookhart has my full support. In fact, having learned more about his past, I'm even more convinced that appointing him was the right thing to do. Admittedly, at 19 years old in 1989, in the midst of a contentious divorce, he made mistakes, big mistakes. Unfortunately, many young people do. He has chosen to correct his path forward, and he is a tax-paying Cocoa citizen, successful businessman, a devoted husband, and his rights have long ago been restored. He is fully qualified to offer leadership in civic life. His perspective will serve this community well. It expands the diversity of life experience to help reflect the entire scope of our community. And I think we should be proud of the Police Advisory Committee and all its members. We have 2 appointees that have backgrounds in police work, 1 in security. We have 2 lawyers. We have someone that has been a police union representative. And significantly, we have 2 members that are recognized leaders in our city, and I'm referring to Reverend Walsh and to Esquire Alton Edmond. We're very fortunate that they have chosen to step up and serve. The Police Advisory Committee, as it is currently composed, will have credibility with all citizens in Cocoa. The only thing that threatens that credibility are those that would choose to defame, embarrass, and intimidate its members for the purpose of undermining the committee's legitimacy. This is a step toward more public trust in our police department and better community relationships. And I'm hoping that for the good of Cocoa that we can embrace this committee and strengthen our democracy by doing so. So, thank you.
Is that it?
Yep.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Goins.
Again, I'd like to send my condolences to you as well, Mayor, for the loss of your dad.
Thank you, sir.
I know how important he is to you. Y'all look just alike, like twins, so. The end of May, we had at Vernon Prospect Park, again, we made a choice to do a community event, and I'm glad we did. I'd like to thank the police department and VCOPS as well for their assistance that night. And the reason why I say I'm glad we did, because something a child said to me, 12 years old, lived maybe 3 or 4 doors down, mom on drugs, dad in prison, and she said she hasn't been to that park in 2 years. At the time, it hit me, but it didn't really hit me until I got home when I talked to my own daughter. And to think about someone who lived Rockledge, Cape Canaveral, somewhere else where the park is right around the corner and a child cannot participate on a swing or a basketball court, to know that not only that one child, it was multiple kids that was there that haven't been to that park in a long time. So we're going to commit to doing things more consistent. I'm going to do a better job with scheduling that, because I made some mistakes as far as scheduling, not being organized. So I'm going to do a better job with that, but we're going to be committed to doing things more consistent in that area, because we all know that's a major crime area. A lot of drugs, a lot of prostitution, a lot of things that we have been working very hard as a police department, been working hard, and it's a very tough area to police. It's been going on for a long time, but I feel the more positive we bring to that area, the better it would be for all of us. So. You know, it kind of bothers me when you got beehives on a slide. That lets me know kids are not there. That bothered me. I talked to Matt about some of the amenities in that park. Well, we have taxpayers that pay money into all of our parks that we own now. You know, lights are not working in some spots. You know, there's no bathrooms there. You know, so if a kid does go there and play and they got to use the bathroom, where do they go? Do they got to run home or go to the fence? You know, so I thought about all those things while I was there, and sometimes we ride by it and don't really realize because we know that's a drug-infested area, so we kind of like forget about it. But I don't think we need to forget about it as a city. So I'm gonna try to do the best job I possibly can to stay in. I know Matt as well has been very, very good with working with the Parks and Recs with that park. I just want to put a little bit more pressure on them, you know, as much as possible. I had a good night. I got beat in basketball pretty much all night, so I was sore. So I just want to just kind of bring that up about that area. So, but it was a good night for many. So. Also, I'd like to thank, you know, D.R. Horton and Virgin Train. I think having housing in our area is one of the reasons why we had a meeting just yesterday with the school board, just trying to find better ways to bring the, you know, Cocoa into a better light. And it's a beautiful thing to see housing, you know, developers coming in wanting to build in Cocoa. But one of the things that me and John talked about, the first thing they always do is, as parents, is want to look at education to see what kind of schools are in the area, how is crime. So those two things have to be our priorities. So I definitely like to thank those two developers for making that decision to build in the city of Cocoa. So other than that, I don't have anything else. Oh, another thing too, like the EMU class was absolutely amazing.
Hold it. I don't know what email.
Oh, I don't know the acronym. I'm gonna say I know the acronym.
For election municipal officials.
There you go.
What's that?
Yeah, well, it was a class that taught us how to be responsible council persons. And leaving there, I felt like I was a smart councilman when I left. I learned a lot of information that I wish I would have learned in January. You know, go thinking about it, I probably made a few mistakes here and there, but I'll say that being in that class taught me a whole lot about how to move, different questions I might have should have asked earlier. But all in all, I would love to do it again. I would love to do like Brenda did and take her steps and go to step 2, step 3.
You gotta hurry up and catch Don, he's at 4.
He's at 4. He's the master. So again, I appreciate everybody for listening tonight. People that come out consistently, I really, really appreciate. I think all of us appreciate your just being involved. I know sometimes when you bring stuff, we may not agree with it, but I'm telling you, we welcome that discussion. And we don't agree all the time, but we appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is that it?
Yes, sir. It's your floor.
Yeah, I'm just going to mention that we've lost some great individuals over the last few weeks. We lost Mr. Matthew Ford. He was a member of our Board of Adjustments for a number of years. We lost Mike Cicerillo. He was on our code board for a number of years. I mean, these gentlemen are probably got about 30 years between the two of them on our boards as volunteers. We've lost a while back, and I don't know if I mentioned it, Martha Franco, who was a longtime resident of Cocoa, who was also on our beautification boards and a number of boards with the city for a lot of years until she got ill. And it's been crazy here the last few weeks, and I want to thank the clerk's office for the proclamations. They've really done a remarkable job with these proclamations. I mean, nothing but good positive feedback from the proclamation. So it's been a busy time for a lot of us. And also want to congratulate the city manager on winning his Home Rule Award. Once again, I think it's the 3rd year in a row. So congratulations to you, sir, because that's a biggie, and especially for the cities, and because we know about, home rule, who knows best, and because we're the closest to the people, so.
That's right.
But anyway, I thank you, sir, for that. And then also, I think it was Friday, I was driving around and I see all these folks from Asbury Arms and Asbury Westminster out there. I mean, and walkers, I mean, they were out there. There had to be about, I think there was about 30 of them, I believe, if I'm counting it wrong. And I was impressed. They went down Dixon, walking, picking up trash, cleaning it up. And then later on, myself and our code enforcement manager, Mr. Bunt, we was driving around and we happened to see them as well. I took some pictures. I was going to get them to Samantha, but I hadn't got them to you yet. There's so much going on with me, so I'm so grateful for what they do. And I did speak to, I guess he's a director,
Joe?
and they're gonna be hitting Clear Lake, I guess, if they haven't already this week, in the coming week. So, yes. So kudos to those guys. I mean, it was a blessing to see them out there. They had their safety jackets on, and I mean, just these individuals can get out there, walkers and whatever else, you know. It's just there's no reason why we can't do our part with keeping our city clean, because we got to change that whole other attitude. I just get so disgusted sometimes when I drive in certain areas and I see someone discarding their garbage out the windows in our streets. I mean, it just, that's got to change. But anyway, I want to hurry up and get everyone out of here. Thank you all for all the phone calls and condolences. We really do appreciate that. But my dad lived a good life, so. And I'm so happy for that. But I thank you all for all the well wishes. And with that being said,
Motion to adjourn.
we got a motion from Councilman Bover, second from Councilman Goin. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Yeah. I refuse to do it for you.
Oh yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine.